Hey friends, welcome to the Lucky Kitchen. I am your tour guide, Victoria. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make sangria. Hey guys, if we haven't met, I'm Victoria and I'm really passionate about helping people cook from scratch at home and doing it in a way that you're not spending hours slaving in the kitchen, but you're saving money and you're saving time and you're making some delicious, wonderful food at home. So let's talk about sangria for a hot second. This is one of my favorite things to make because it's so easy. Before I get into the content, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this with a friend who you think would love to make yummy food at home too. All right, so let's talk more about sangria and our strategy for how we're gonna make this simple, easy peasy thing that is gonna be delicious at home. So sangria is the perfect summertime drink for you and your friends. Now, I have to tell you, I've been making sangria for a really long time, and I had friends when I was in my 20s, my friends used to request it. Actually, my Italian godmother taught me how to make it many, many moons ago, and it's so easy. So this is something that you can do, and it seems fancy. It seems like, oh, I'm such a gourmet cook, right? But it's so easy. Well, let's talk about what sangria is for a hot second. Sangria is actually a Spanish thing. And when you go to Spain, you'll see you can get sangria like in a bottle at a grocery store. And sometimes it contains a liqueur of some kind. And a lot of times in Spain, that's how they'll make it at a restaurant, is they'll make it with a liqueur and with your red wine. I think that white sangria is an American thing. I never saw white sangria in Spain, but the last time I was in Spain was a while ago. So it may be a thing there, it may not. I don't know, I haven't been there in forever and a day. I'm going to teach you how to make sangria 3 ways. And here's the thing that's interesting. I'm kind of making up number 3. So this is, it's not even a thing. The first way we're going to make sangria is with red wine. Second, with white. Third, I'm going to teach you how to do it with a sparkling, and you're going to be so fancy that your friends aren't going to be able to contain their excitement when you have a sparkling sangria. So here's what we're going to need first. We need wine. So I got my wine from Thrive Market. Here's the dealio. I really like natural wine. Wine actually has a lot of really junky stuff in it, and that's American wine. And if you get a natural wine, that's a different deal altogether. But traditional wines that are American can be produced using all kinds of methods that actually other countries won't accept. Even China won't accept some of these practices. And you say to yourself, is that why I get a hangover? So I try to be careful where I buy my wine because I can get a hangover like that. And when we lived in Paso Robles, California, which is wine country, there's 350 wineries in the city in the province of Paso, not downtown, but in the whole area. And what I found was I had to stick with the people that I knew that were truly cared about the product that they were putting out. Like sometimes I would get a headache right here because of sulfites. So be careful where you buy your wine. That's a long way of putting it, okay? So I got these from Thrive Market, and I really look for the either biodynamic, organic, and look for a winery that really cares and has been doing it for a long time. I would watch where you get your wine from. If you're getting $2.99, $2 chuck at Trader Joe's, you know what you're getting. I spent a little bit more and got Thrive Market. I think each one of the bottles was like $15. Again, this is not busting the bank. So if you want to make all of these recipes, make sure you get a red, a white, and a sparkling. So for the red, we are using this, I don't even know how to say this, Castabaro Rioja, made from organic grapes. This is the one I got. And usually when I film something, I do it more than once. And we've already had this wine for the sangria previously made. It was amazing. Now for the other wines, I got an Albarino for the white. And if you've never heard of Albarino before, it's more of a Spanish varietal, as I understand it. And like this one says Terra Mundi, it's from Spain. So apparently I got all my wine from Spain. That's funny, because I also got a cava. And cava is a Spanish champagne. Champagne can only come from the Champagne region in France. But if you get a cava, it's a sparkling and they're lovely. This one is a rosé sparkling and it looked really yummy. So now that we have our wine, let's talk about what kind of fruit and other stuff we're gonna put in our sangria. So sangria, the way I make it, it has a couple main things. You have your wine, we're gonna add some juice, and we're going to add the fruit, and we're gonna let everything get happy. I like apples and oranges. Why? Because they're not gonna break down in our sangria. Do not add something like a banana. Even a pear, I think, is too soft. So you can add things like grapes. Because of the skin, they generally aren't gonna get mushy. But I would typically stick with a harder fruit. So I have all my fruit here, and it's soaking in a water vinegar mixture. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm doing oranges, apples, and I have some plums that are really ripe and need to be eaten. And I haven't added plums to my sangria before, but I'm going to do it this time. Take whatever fruit you have, and especially if it looks a little sad and you're probably not going to sit down and eat it because it looks a little sad, chop it up, put it in your sangria. No one's ever going to know. As long as it's still good, as long as it's not like oldie moldy or something like that, nobody's ever gonna know. All right, so let's get going with our sangria. So what we're gonna do, we have our wine. You don't even need to chill it because we're gonna put this whole mixture right in the fridge. We're gonna cut up the fruit that we want to use. Here's the deal with the fruit. Cut it up so that if you want to eat the fruit later, which I highly recommend because it's going to be delicious, then cut it up so you can either use a fork or a spoon to fish it out of either the pitcher or your glass. So we're going to cut up the fruit and we're going to add juice. Now, you ask me how much juice to add. Frankly, girl, I don't know, because I go by how much room I have left in my pitcher. And let me tell you, I don't know, this is the year of breaking things. Apparently, I have had 3 glass pitchers that have gotten knocked off a counter, off a table, and broken this year. So I have my sturdy, this is like Mexican glass, you know, that's super sturdy. So we're just gonna be using this, fill up probably to here, maybe more. Add the fruit that you want to add. At a minimum, add 3 pieces of fruit, okay? Then we're going to add our full bottle of wine. And then from there, at least 2 to 3 cups of juice. The juice I purchased this week, we're doing cranberry juice. I think cranberry juice is so good in this, but you can do whatever you want, okay? Because you're an adult. I also got pomegranate juice, and we're going to try that. And I don't know if it's going to be too tart with the Rioja, but we're going to try it and we'll see. And the third is white grape juice. We're going to do that with our Albarino for our white sangria. For our sparkling, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make a raspberry syrup, and we're going to use that as the base for our drink, because you don't want to open up the cava and then leave it to lose its wonderful bubbles in the fridge all day while everything marinades. So we're making more of a champagne-ish drink, but we're gonna take raspberry, and then you can take berries and put them on the top of your champagne little cocktail there. That's gonna be my version of a sangria with a sparkling. Okay, so one more thing, and I was thinking about this the other day, and that is if you are not partaking in alcohol this summer, maybe you're having a dry month, maybe you just don't want to drink right now, you can actually make something like a sangria that does not have the alcohol. There's some really great non-alcoholic wines, and I find that especially if I don't want to risk getting a headache, because I get headaches all the time from wine. I can have a sip of wine, and if there's a lot of sulfites in it, if there's a lot of junk in it, I'll get a headache right away. If you don't want to risk that, you can do a non-alcoholic wine, which some of them are lovely. Again, I've gotten some at Thrive Market, but then also like do a mineral water instead of the wine and add a dark colored juice like cranberry. And right now, today we're doing pomegranate, but you could mix like cranberry and pomegranate or a couple other things, but also try a non-alcoholic wine and see how you like that. It might provide that same bite that you get from a glass of wine, but you're not having to deal with the after effects of alcohol. So for all of my girls who are not partaking right now, give that a shot as well. All right, so what are we doing with all of this stuff on my counter? So let's start with the wine. I have a bottle of red wine. I cut up an orange and an apple. And now here's the time to get stuff out of your freezer, and we are going to make the most of the frozen fruit you have. Okay, my sangria is all ready to go. Look at that dark purple color, gorgeous. I have oranges, apples, and plums in there, and then I use this organic pomegranate juice. So we're gonna see how that's gonna go. It's a little bit of an experiment, and that's how I view anything in the kitchen, a little bit of an experiment. This may be the best thing in the world and maybe a little bit tart. If I have to end up adding some honey to it, I'm not going to cry over it. It's not gonna be a huge tragedy, but this is a little bit different. So go ahead, try, experiment, see, especially with the things that you have in your kitchen, how are the flavors all gonna taste together. So I'm gonna put this in, it's like 11 a.m. I'm gonna put this in the fridge, and we're gonna have this later tonight. If you're having a party, what you can do is the night before you can do this, and it's especially delicious then, okay? So we have our pitcher here with all of our fruit, our gorgeous mint, and our wine is open, and we are ready to roll. The one thing I will say is with this mint, I'm gonna put it in, but I don't want it to overpower the wine. And so I'm gonna check a little bit later today to see how minty it tastes. Because if you don't like the taste of mint, you know, first of all, don't put it in. But secondly, I don't want it to overpower the yummy wine. I did try it, and the Apereno is super duper duper dry, and so I will probably add more of this grape juice than I normally would, but I wanted to have that sweet flavor going on that you get with a sangria. Again, so I have frozen peaches in here. I had a couple little crab apples, I had an orange. Use whatever fruit you have on hand. If you have nothing on hand, look in your freezer. Do you have something that like freezer burn mango? Hey, throw it in. It doesn't matter because we're using it for the sangria. I'm making a simple syrup with these raspberries that were in my freezer. Again, use everything that you already have. And I don't have sugar open, I don't have honey open, so I'm gonna use agave. We're gonna do a 1-for-1 simple syrup. Again, this is super simple. I'm gonna have 1 cup of water, 1 cup of agave. We're gonna let it simmer until the mixture looks like it is red like the raspberries. All right, here's the simple syrup. I'm gonna let this thicken a little bit. As you can tell, my heat's up pretty high. I'm gonna turn the heat down because I don't want anything to scorch and I don't want to babysit it. So I'm gonna turn the heat down and I'm I'm gonna let it just thicken up a little bit, and then I'm gonna strain out the raspberries. So that's pretty much it with sangria. The one thing to remember is you are actually saving so much money by having these cocktails at home. I mean, have some friends over, it'll be super fun. With sangria, it's generally $20 or more a glass at a restaurant or something like that. So you're saving yourself a ton of money. Yes, you did buy some good quality wine here, and this is probably $15 for the bottle. But I think it's fun to make these things at home because then you know what ingredients go into it. You can have this as a fun afternoon where your neighbor comes over or like whatever. So that's it for me. Please subscribe. Please share this with a friend who you think would like some sangria, and have a happy summer, guys.